Let's go, Be More Podcast. Hope you guys are all doing great. Bringing to you guys a brand new show. And this is one of my friends has asked me to do a podcast today all around, this is his request. Can you do something around diet? Not just the product, by the way, he's one of our customers with Herbalife products, but about protein, carbs, fats, calories, etc., which is what I'm going to do today. Also about training plans, how to build them, how to ensure you stick at them, and how to track progress. So this is what today's show is going to be all about, guys. So if you are here for entrepreneurial stuff, then this might not be for you. But however, I do think this is, guys, if you've got a good fit body and you are in tune with your health and fitness, your business will be better. So I would stick around for this. So guys, for me, my philosophy over the years has really evolved. I was actually training with one of my friends today and he's like, Jack, how long have you been going to the gym for now? And I've been going to the gym now for longer in my life than I have not been going to the gym. So when I first started training at like 14, 15, I started going to the gym then, literally a gym around the corner from my house. I lied about my age so I could go. And now I'm 32 next month. So I've been training for a massive chunk of my life and it's become part of my identity now, right? So for me, training, I don't have to motivate myself to go to the gym anymore. But that this is basically where you want to get yourself to, where the most important shift to make in anyone's habits is the shift in your own identity. Rather than having the mentality of, oh, I'm trying to get myself into going to the gym. Whereas if you're self-talking, you're thinking the way you think and the way you do is, I'm somebody who goes to the gym, then that's already the biggest step you can take with regards to being someone who's becoming the best version of themselves when it comes to their health and their fitness. By the way, you haven't got to go to the gym, but someone who lives that healthy, active lifestyle, it starts with your own self-talk and an identity shift. That's the first thing that I always recommend to people is having that identity shift as someone who eats healthy, eats nourishing foods, looks after themselves, has a good self-image, works out on a regular basis, gets good sleep, is mindful of what they put into their body. So this is basically the first thing that I would recommend to anybody is have that identity shift. Whereas some people, that your identity might be something like, I don't know, look at some of the vices that people have. Your identity could be, I'm someone who smokes weed all the time. That's an identity pattern that you've created in your life through doing something regularly, right? Which is smoking weed, which is where lots of people are right now. Whereas if your habits and what you do daily is something like exercise, that becomes part of your identity, right? One of my favorite books is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this, for me, really honed this for me. Like I knew that there was things that I wanted to achieve in my life. So I was like, how do I become a master at these things? I'm going to make it part of my identity. Right? So that's the first thing that I would recommend when it comes to building a really good structured lifestyle around getting the best nutrients into your body, seeing results and your training. So I'm going to start with the training question. So how do I build training programs? So this has changed loads over the years, right? So when I was a PT, I spent some time building my own ones. I've also invested in coaches. Something I like to always do, by the way, is success always leaves clues, right? So what I would recommend to anybody out there is study the people who have the kind of results that you want. And then what you'll find is there's probably a way you can get access to their programming, right? So this is what I've always pretty much done. I've always been somebody who would study others and be a good copycat, to be honest, right? There's already success in that person, which is why I love books, I love YouTube, because you can kind of get access to the minds and the activity of people who are already seeing the results that you want to see. So with Instagram, with YouTube and all these amazing places nowadays, you can identify people that have the results that you want, and then you can kind of just follow what they do. You can get an idea of what their habits are, how they think, what books they read, what workouts they do, what gym they go to, if they train in the morning, they do it fasted, whatever. You can kind of get an idea of what they do, and then you can kind of try and emulate some of those things into your lifestyle. That's basically what I've always done. So at the moment, I've actually quite enjoyed, since stopped being a personal trainer and that removing that from my identity, I've quite enjoyed getting programs from other people. So I've most of the last 3-4 years of my training, since not being a personal trainer, I've actually paid for other people's training programs, whether it be an app that I've paid for, or at the moment I'm actually doing, and I recommend it to everyone, by the way. I shared up my Instagram the other day. There's a brand that I really like called Represent. The founder's massive into their fitness. They just bought out a fitness clothing line. It's originally a fashion brand, and they're giving out a free program. So every single week, his name's George Heaton, he will share his programming. And by the way, this is something like, I'm inspired by that guy. He's in great nick, got a great business. I want to watch what he does, and he's sharing his programming for free, and he trains like a savage, right? He's training most days twice a day, lots of running, and that's kind of where I want to program myself for at the moment. I want to be more of a hybrid. I don't want to just lift weights. I want to do some running as well. I want to be fit. I'm getting into my 30s now, so I want to stay fit and nimble, and I'm stretching more. So I've kind of emulated what he's doing with his program, and I'm going to follow this for a little bit and see how I get on. So every Sunday on the app, he uploads his programming for the week ahead, and I'll have a little look and see what workouts I'm going to do from that, and then I'll program my week on a Sunday for the week ahead based on a lot of stuff that he's doing, and some stuff that I'm doing as well. So that's kind of like what I'd recommend when it comes to your programming, right? Your training. Find someone who's got what you want, and most of the time you can get it for free nowadays. You can get most of these programs for free. You can look at people's Instagram. There's loads of stuff nowadays. So that's what I actually think there's a lot of value in doing the study and going to find the person and getting yourself really into it. Like when I'm into something, I get obsessed, right? Obsession leads to great results. It's not a negative thing. So go and let yourself go down that little path a little bit, that rabbit hole, and go and seek the answers that you're looking for based on the results that you want to create. Whether you want to be someone who gets absolutely massive, follow people who are absolutely massive and just do their training, or if you want to be someone who's a bit more like George, for example, who's completely ripped but also strong, got some good lean muscle, attractive. Like that for me was what I wanted to emulate. So this is what I'm doing at the moment. And how to track progress. I haven't tracked lifts for a long time. Just by the way, if you're wanting to put on muscle, it depends what you want, right? You should be tracking the lifts. I haven't done for a long time because it's not something that really I'm that bothered about. The gym for me is more a mental thing than it is it gives me a great, I love how I feel after a workout, so then I'm a better human being for the rest of the day. It positively affects my relationships, my business, because of how my mind is. So for me, I'm going to the gym for an enjoyment, and I'm going to lift weights that of course challenge me, but I'm just at a different place in my life to be tracking every lift that I'm doing, whereas I did that before. I've been training for a long time, and I used to track my lifts, and there's videos of me online saying you should track everything you do, track your lifts, and I would get so obsessed. Like I'd be trying to add a little bit of weight every single week to whatever program I was following, to every exercise I'd be trying to progressively overload, and that's great, right? And that served a purpose for me at the time. But it actually led to quite a few injuries. Because I was trying to put on too much weight on the bar too soon, because I wanted to have progress on my logbook. Otherwise I'd be pissed, right? Whereas I've learnt my body a bit more recently, and I've gone, do you know what? I'm just going to go in and do this because I want to get a good session in. But I'm not about growing muscle at the moment, really. For me, I like how I look. It's just about staying sharp. So for me, I don't really need to track my lifts. My runs, I'm tracking at the minute though. So it's different. Everyone's different, and you should choose what you do based on what you want. Like if you want to hit a certain 5k run time, you absolutely should track that. If you want to hit 100 kg bench and you're at 80 at the moment, you should absolutely track that. It just depends what you want. So for me, I try and make it a fun process for me, which will look different to some other people. Some people love the data. They love that. But that suits their personality. So I don't think there's a one way fits all, which by the way, I used to. When I used to be a PT, I had this ego, this mentality that this is how this needs to be done. You will do this, you will do, if you're going to work with me, this is what you do. And it was very much like a dictatorship. Whereas on reflection now, as I'm a bit older, I'm a bit more mature, and I look at things a bit differently. The way I see it is everyone is different, and everyone needs to have a different plan. It's why I love football so much. When I love to watch football, and I love managers like Pep and Klopp, the best managers who get the best out of each individual. They've got a different approach for every single individual. They don't have a one-way way of communication to the whole team. It's so different, and that's how they allow themselves to bring the best out of a group, which is what for me is for life. Like that's for anything. You shouldn't have this is how you train. Everyone needs to have a different kind of approach based on what they like, what they don't like, what their goals are, what it is that works for them. So this is quite a difficult podcast to say this is the approach to take, but this is I've developed a more of an open-minded attitude to it now. But something that I do always, there are some things that are non-negotiables for me that I like to live by, which I will get to in a second, that I make sure that happen to allow me to see the results that I want, if that makes sense. Can I do something around diet? So now leading into diet, this is a great question about protein, carbs, fats, calories. Amazing question. So when it comes to this stuff, I've not tracked a calorie for Probably about 5 years. Sometimes I'll delve into it and I have a little look at what I'm doing just to see where my numbers would be. I might track a day or two and be like, okay, this is where I'm at. But whenever I do that for too long, I get too obsessed with it. I was actually chatting to one of the doctors at our company about this, and he was telling me about all the studies that are about MyFitnessPal and eating disorder problems. And I was like, that was for me big time. When I used to track every single day, I think I had like a 700 day, maybe 800 day streak on MyFitnessPal of tracking every single day. And my relationship with food by the end of that 800 days, I can tell you wasn't good. So if you show me some people who track a lot, I will probably show you their eating. For most cases, not everyone, by the way, because I've just said to you, everyone is different. It's normally encouraged some bad relationships with food, whereas the conversation I was having with him is like it's developing an intuitive eating approach, which for me works so much better. So I've not tracked for a long time. However, I do know that my protein needs to be around, I'm always aiming for minimum 150 grams a day, and I know I'm always hitting that. Because of the foods that I'm eating, I'm always intentional about eating protein, high protein foods, but not only that, but also nourishing foods that I know that are gonna nourish my body, that are fibrous, that are high in vitamins and minerals. For me, that's something I'm intentional about. And what I have developed over the last few years is like an approach of 80% of it is going to be clean, whole foods, like high nutrition foods, and then 10 to 20% is going to be the foods that I want to eat, right? So I've become a lot more relaxed. There'll be chocolates, weekends full of whatever I want. But the main bulk of my nutrition, my breakfast, my lunch, most of my dinners, the snacks that I have, the protein-based snacks, my post-workout, my pre-workout, that's like so solid that therefore 80 to 90% of my diet is solid as you like. Therefore the 10% doesn't really make much of a difference. Whereas people who do these like crazy cheat days and whatever, like I know that it's just they're escaping from a plan they don't really like. Whereas I love everything I eat, pretty much everything that I consume. I love what I do. So for me, I don't need to escape from it. So when I do have something like for example, my mum lives in New Zealand. She gets me the Dream Bars. They're my favorite, right? The white chocolate Dream Bars that no longer exist in the UK for whatever stupid reason. Mr. Cadbury, I'm not happy about it, right? But she sends over for my birthday and Christmas these Dream Bars, and I'll smash in one of them, no problem. But it's no problem because the rest of my diet is so good, and it's only every now and again, right? So develop a balance with things. So, and this will allow you to be, it's way better in relationship stuff. Whereas if you're always like, I've got to do this, like your life then becomes out of balance, and I'm all about balance now. So that's my kind of take on diet. I would always recommend to people to do a gram of protein per pound of lean body weight, and then build the rest of their plan around that. Some people will prefer to be high carb, others will prefer to be high fat. It's personal preference, right? Just go and try a few different plans, go and try a few different ways, see which fuel source suits you better, and go all in with that. One thing that I do recommend to everyone is to stay hydrated. Electrolytes, super important. Something that I've really implemented recently over the last few years is way more focus on electrolytes. Hydration for me is massive. So most people are just chronically dehydrated, and water alone doesn't get the job done. So invest in a good electrolyte makes a massive difference. For me, I'm banging them in all day because it's important. Most people think that tap water alone will hydrate them, and it absolutely will not. You need to get into the right salts and sodium into your body, and you can do that through some good hydration products. So definitely worth investing in that. That's the diet question. So I don't recommend people to track all the time, maybe for a little bit to get yourself an idea of where you're at. But it depends on your goals. So if you want to lose some body fat, slight calorie deficit, but do you need to track to do that? No, you don't. You just need to get the job done, right? And one thing, now I'm going to get to the non-negotiables that help bring this all together, okay? So like I said, a gram of protein per pound of lean body weight. So let's say you're a 200-pound human being and you're 20% body fat. My maths isn't that fast, but I think that means you need to consume 160 grams of protein a day, right? So you can work it out, right? It's very simple to work out. There's loads of scales nowadays that are like £20 on Amazon that will tell you a rough idea of where your body fat percentage is. Work out that, and then you're away. There's your protein target. If you want, you can go a little bit higher, but you're not going to get too much benefit from going too high on protein. There'd be a point of no return. And a point where you're just consuming too many calories, and then fill the rest of your calories up with the carbs and the fats. and the split would be entirely up to you. I mix it up. Sometimes I'm more high fat, others I'm more high carb. When I'm more high fat, I do tend to feel a lot better, versus when I do too high carb, I end up feeling a bit sluggish. So, but everyone is different. But one thing I do focus on is driving as many nutrients into my body, because that's super important. Okay, I think I've answered everything, but now I'm going to touch on the non-negotiables. So for me, I always wear an Apple Watch, and this is a massive non-negotiable for me, is a minimum of 10,000 steps a day. Right now it's 5:30 in the evening, I'm on 12,500. I'll probably hit 15k today. That for me is a non-negotiable. 10k steps every day. That's going to help you to be healthier, get outside in the fresh air. There's so many benefits to that alone. Definitely recommend that to everybody. That is a health 101, 10k steps for sure. Invest in a nice little watch. And I recommend spending more money, by the way, because then the more you pay attention. Whereas if you get a crap one that's 20 quid, you're not going to wear it and you're not going to track it. So for me, that is something I do obsessively track, is my steps. The next thing that is really important is sleep. Sleep is the biggest thing that underpins everything, really. And something that I spent too long just getting by with sleep. Like I've always been someone who gets up early. So I would sacrifice sleep to get up early, because I like the early morning routine. Whereas more recently I've gone, do you know what? Sleep is so important that I'm going to sleep a bit longer. Minimum of 7 hours, guys. Always try and get a minimum of 7 hours in sleep. It's so important for everything, whether it's fat loss, muscle building, your brain health, your heart health, your body health, like so important. So sleep is where all the recovery happens. Your hormones can do the magic in that time. So yeah, 7 hours sleep, massive non-negotiable. Gram of protein per pound of body weight. Moving the body on a daily basis, 10,000 steps. And then your training is different for everybody. How many times a week you can train based on your structure, based on your routine, based on your commitments. I train nearly every day. It's probably too much, but like I said to you before, it's mainly for my mind. I feel like I'll have a better day if I do exercise first thing. It's just learning your body and putting the right things in place to recover. I sauna every day. I try and do cold therapy most days. So I try and stretch most days. So I'm trying to always stay to recover the best way I can. And I'm always putting in the right nutrition to try and help my recovery as well. So that's kind of my answer on all those things, guys. Hopefully it's brought some value into how I think and see things. As someone who's been at this now for 15, 16 years, always trying to do different things with regards to my approach to nutrition and trying to learn new things. And I think it's important that you do that. I think it's important that you go on your own little journey and try different things, find what works for you, find what doesn't, and just know that this is it's a journey. There isn't like a destination where you go, this is what I need to do. It's a journey, and it's something that you should enjoy, and it should become part of your lifestyle. And for me, it's part of my identity. I live a healthy, active lifestyle, and I'm proud to do that, by the way. And I actually think, if you're listening to this right now, it is your responsibility and your duty to take in this information and start to take action with regards to becoming the best version of yourself when it comes to your own health and fitness. Because by example, the more people we have embarking on becoming the best version of themselves through health, through their fitness, through the foods they eat, the better example we will set to other people around us. Whether you're a parent, your kids, they're watching what you do, right? Or maybe you've got your family members, your cousins, your friends. Everyone's watching you, right? People are watching what you do, and you're either leaving a good example or you're a massive warning. And people are copying you. People are emulating your habits. So be careful, because everyone is watching, right? So know that you want to be the person who sets the right example, which is why I spend 20 minutes talking to my camera and recording these podcasts, because I really want to help create a movement of people who do the things that they know they should be doing, but they execute. That's what makes you stand out in 2024, is someone who executes on really what you already know that is the right thing to do, but you do it and you show up and you're consistent and you do it again and again and again. And you're so detached from the outcome of doing the thing. It's just part of who you are. You are someone who goes to the gym. You're consistent. You get good sleep. You hydrate yourself every day. You eat enough protein. Like, these are just things that become who you are, and you are someone who is consistent, who makes the right choices. So yeah, hopefully you guys got value. And I've enjoyed this, by the way, just answering some questions. So anyone who's listening to this podcast, I know there's people listening to this all over the world now, which is amazing. I appreciate all you guys for listening and tuning in. Send me questions, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, or you can email me at info@jackwilliamsfitness.co.uk. Send in some questions, guys. I'm happy just to do podcasts like this because it's good fun for me. I can just answer away, and I haven't got to think about creating it that way. That you can just give me the things to talk about. So yeah, let me know, guys. And as always, if you can share this on your Instagram stories and tag me, I appreciate it massively. My goal is, like I said, is to get the word out there and get more people to become the best version of themselves and to be more, which is what this brand is all about. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.